Welcome to our blacksmith shop. We're in Old Somerset County, Maryland, and I'm going to demonstrate today on how to start a forge before the match was invented in 1840. In the colonial period, there was no strikeable matches, so a fire had to be started either by friction method or by flint and steel. Flint and steel was probably the most popular for the blacksmith. You need a few things to be prepared to do this. You need charred cloth. This cloth has been charred in a can so that all the volatile materials are burnt off and it's pure charcoal. You also need a striker. The striker was made here in this forge, made from a file, extremely hard so it can make a spark using a piece of flint. In the 1720s, this is a replica of how these materials would have been kept. This is a tinder box. In the tinder box there's a striker, there's some flint, and some pieces of curled wood shavings from a planing operation in a carpenter shop, which could be next door. Charred cloth is kept in a plate container. You always have a supply of that because you have to have that pre-made. Once you get a fire, you have to make more charcoal so that you have something to use the next time. We get the striker in our hand so that we can create a spark, and hopefully we can catch a spark into the charred cloth. Once the spark is caught, sometimes you do it the first time, sometimes it takes several attempts to get the charred cloth catch a spark. Charred cloth is then gently put into a piece of shaving. Blowing gently on it, we can get it started. Put it down in the forge. And we'll take a small bellows and see if we can get a flame started here. Blowing gently on the charred cloth. And you can see we got a smoke coming out of here. We got a little flame caught now. And this should catch the other shavings. And we have some wood, little larger pieces of wood to hopefully catch here. And then we can move over to the big bellows. Now we're supplying air underneath the forge, coming from the bellows that you see off into the right. Start moving a little bit of coal. When we pull hard, there's an upper chamber in the bellows that keeps the flame supplied with oxygen, called the double action bellows. Here on top of the fire. Wasn't any strikeable matches in the early days. You just couldn't come in and strike a fire. You had to build a fire with flint and steel. And once you got a fire going, this can, such as an old tea can, got a very small hole punched in the top, which take some charred cloth, pure cotton or linen. Synthetics will not work because they melt. Then we would put this into the fire while we're working today and make some more charred cloth that we would keep into our copper container here. A lot of times at a blacksmith shop, and there was an apprentice, and he would be working the forge while the blacksmith would do the forging. And he would hold things for the blacksmith. Sometimes it's a two-man operation. Our wood starting to catch. Learn how the ashes out of the bottom of the chamber. Now we put some green coal, what we call green coal, on the fire, which is wet coal, and that will start to make coke. And in a few minutes we'll be able to heat steel. See, now we're getting a pretty hot fire. We'll be able to put a piece of metal in now. I also have a electric ballast back here, which we're not going to use for this demonstration because I want to show you the way it was in the colonial period. Now we're starting with a pretty hot fire. Lots of heat. Temperatures up to 1800 degrees or higher. There was no such thing as a scrap in the colonial days of metal. Metal could be reused, welded together in the forge. Now you can see we're getting a considerable amount of heat now. Getting a center core in the fire now, right over top of the torrent. Nails were made from pieces of square stock. This happens to be a piece of 4-inch round stock that will just dry here in a few minutes. Now you can see there's a considerable amount of heat. Warming up the blacksmith shop. We've also got our wood stove going this morning, so it's nice in here. Now you can see our metal's got hot. We can actually forge it now. You can shake the metal, bend it, and so on. Now the fire cools off when you let go of the ballast, but it's still there. If you had a young man as a helper, he would be keeping the fire going. Once you get the fire established, you don't want a lot of heat. You want to be a controlled heat. You have to keep bringing your coal back into the fire. So we have a good supply coat. That'll heat back up pretty quickly. See, we made a curl, we flattened a piece of iron, and so on. back to see us another day. Thank you for watching.